Hi, welcome back. I don't know if this is a repeat thing for you, actually, so welcome. I'm back, personally. I don't know about you, but December felt like 3 years. What a strange month. What a strange sequence of events. You know, I was reflecting about this show, thinking to myself, why is it so difficult to be consistent with this show? And I had a bit of an epiphany. Actually, when I was raw dogging a red eye to London, it kind of clicked. I'm overcomplicating this thing. What holds me back from being consistent with this show of mine is I tend to overthink what to make it about and what to do and what people want to hear. And we're putting the kibosh on all of that. Here's the thing. I consider myself a very open, honest, and vulnerable person. And honestly, I believe it's my superpower. I do, because not enough people are doing that, right? Not enough. Everything's very performative now. Everyone is putting on a show. So what does that mean for this show? Well, I'm going to kind of treat it like a journal, to be totally honest. I know that sounds scary for some of you out there. Do not panic, okay? I know what I'm doing. I think I know what I'm doing. Recently, I posted a very vulnerable video on the TikTok, and it really took flight. But I saw the impact it had just sharing what I was going through. I mean, hundreds of people messaged me saying that it really helped them to hear that somebody else was going through the same thing. So then, okay, that's what I want to do. I want to help people. I just want to help people, and I want to make people feel good. I want to make people laugh. That, I strongly believe, is my purpose. And even if it's not, I'll die trying. Today's episode is going to be kind of a heavy one. Now, okay, I don't even know how to segue into this. I got my heart broken. When is how do we transition, people? Hard pivot here, but I'm going to tell you about how I got my heart absolutely annihilated about a week ago. This was an experience, definitely was a learning moment. I think that it'd be valuable to talk about it. The days of me giving a fuck are kind of done. So yeah. Now, because this is a pretty loaded story, I've got a few disclaimers, okay? At no point in this episode am I going to reveal any details about this man, putting this man's identity or anything of that nature in jeopardy. It's just not the intent. If he's watching this right now, what's up? I'm not going to expose the guy. It's just, what is that kind of behavior? If anything, this makes me look pretty pathetic. Also, before we go on this journey together, take a breath, okay? Take a breath before you absolutely erupt in the comments, which some of you did on the TikTok. Before pressing send, go outside, breathe in the air, come back to the phone, and decide if this is still worth our time. Let's get into the story. As I mentioned, I had my heart annihilated. This was a pretty profound experience, if I may say so myself, right? The story starts Cinco de Mayo, 2023, okay? I'm going to spare you a lot of details here. It's been a bit of a roller coaster, okay? It's been on and off and on and off. I've yapped about him on here, and he's been a huge part of my journey, if you will, over the last 3 years. The off happened really because of different life events. In my opinion, it was always kind of a timing issue. Now, I'm not trying to be funny here. It's just kind of the reality of the situation. This man has a tendency to be kind of forgetful. And I noticed, especially in the last few months, the more recent months, that he doesn't totally remember the off, why we ended, how we ended, the effect it had on me. So I just want you to know that. Before you're why would you go back to the same person over and over and over again? Well, because there was nothing wrong with us. There were no wild red flags. Well, sorry. If anything, my therapist would tell you that I'm actually way too rational, where I leave nothing to the imagination, where I'm I've seen XYZ and therefore XYZ is true. Forget about ABC. And you should know this about me because it's kind of in the title. I have an incredible ability to read people. It's really weird and freaky how well I do it. In the times where we drifted apart or were separating intentionally, like whatever, I could always kind of see right through it. And it wasn't fantasy, it wasn't potential, it was, I get you. And you're hurting. And you need time. There's something here. It's just not right now. I could see through the armor. I could see through the wounds. I could see that his heart was there and that there was something pretty special about this connection. And I will say, I've always had very strong feelings for him. Very strong feelings that were kind of inexplainable. Like I had known this person. I felt so comfortable with them. Our similarities were just wild. I didn't give a shit about what he did for work or how much money he had. He is easily and probably forever always will be the funniest person I've ever met. Like I said, this connection, this relationship had its ups and downs. Within the last year, in the year of 2025, our journey kind of took a whole different thing. He was away for work pretty much all of February. And during that time, we spoke on the phone almost every single day. Texting, calling, whatever, and it was so much fun. And we were really getting closer to one another. We were starting to have actual conversation where it felt like the kind of conversations you have with a boyfriend about your day. That's just kind of how it felt. It was so much fun because we had something to look forward to. We were almost like counting down the days till his trip was over and we could see each other. And I picked him up from the airport. I told you guys the fucking story on here, so that's who we're talking about. Brooklyn, spoiler alert. He then flees the country. He told me, listen, this isn't the end. We're not going to be strangers. This isn't the end. I'll see you when I'm back. That must have been in March of 2025. I didn't hear from the man ever again. Not a word. And I thought, surely that was the last time we rekindled, surely. And of course, I've dated other guys since, and I almost was in a relationship with one. He called himself my Latin lover, whatever. We're not even getting into that, but I found myself with any guy I had dated after meeting this guy that I would compare them to him, if I'm being totally honest. And nobody really made me feel the way that Brooklyn made me feel. Nobody was quite as funny. They weren't him. Really wasn't a week that would pass that I wouldn't think of him at least a little bit. Fast forward to August. I'm now living in Brooklyn, loving life in a totally different energy. I would have been irrecognizable to him. Seriously, and physically and emotionally. I just wasn't the same. A significant amount of events would have happened from March 2025 to August, starting with me getting laid off, going to Paris twice, moving to Brooklyn, starting this whole new life. I was irrecognizable, and my energy was at its highest. I was in my single girl era, going to bars, having fun, flirting, not a care in the goddamn world. And one day, out of the blue, I was sat at my pool when all of a sudden, he popped into my head. Thought to myself, that's odd. I wonder if he's going to reach out. I wonder. Now we're late August. He pops into my head again. And I was like, God damn it. I feel like I need to reach out. And so I did. Few minutes later, the classic, hey, I was just thinking about you. I swear I was about to text you. That's so weird. Classic telepathy. Come on, right? We know how that goes. Just like that, the whole thing kicks off again. People, this isn't for dramatic effect. You have my rational word. It was significantly different. It was like an entire different person. For him and for me. I almost didn't recognize him. He seemed so much happier, more intentional, more serious, more ready for a relationship based on the things we would talk about, do together. We were doing actual dates this time around. That was foreign. That had never happened before. Actually going out in public together. That was big, and especially given what he does. But I was treading lightly I was really treading lightly because, again, I was having so much fun. I just didn't care what happened. It didn't matter to me what the outcome was going to be. I had no expectations. And honestly, I was following his lead. Now I'm bringing you to the timeline of end of August to now. Okay? Welcome. Here we go. At this point, we're going on dates. I'm now meeting his friends. This is new. I'm meeting his friends. The temperature drops. It is now fall. The more dates that were going on, the more I'm starting to be like, okay, something about it started to pivot from this is just casual to whoa, I think this is now becoming serious, but still I feel kind of good. I was totally flowing. I was flowing. I was doing everything I could to keep myself protected in this. Guard was all the way up. I wouldn't get too close. I wouldn't open up. I would just kind of see how he moves. And a lot of this was initiated by him. I'd say 99%. I just followed his lead. That's what I was trying to do, to just make sure that this man didn't hurt me again. Countless times he would bring up having a baby, like he really wanted to have a baby, and I wouldn't give in to any of the like fantasy talk because he does do that. It's not like love bombing. It's like he daydreams out loud. I really don't feel it's love bombing because I've been love bombed before and this wasn't it. This was just like this creative guy who's got all these things in his brain and he feels comfortable around you and therefore he's letting it out. So several times he brought up the topic of having a family. I never gave in once. I did not fall for the bait. So much so that at one point I meet one of his friends and his friend is married with a baby and they're staying with him and I'm also in the house. He picked up the baby and I love babies so much. I have the worst baby fever. And at one point he picks the baby up and I had to do everything in my power not to look because I would have fallen in love with him. I was like, do not look at how good he is with this baby. You'll be cooked if you do. Don't. Now, I'm not going to get into like every single thing he's ever done and said. It's just pointless. Like we need to skip to the juice of the story here. Just know like things were really picking up. I'm still guarded and I'm doing this weird dance of like, how guarded should I be? I'm seeing XYZ happen. Surely this is like a me thing that I need to work through and not be so guarded and trust and open my heart and trust this man. And I had a few people who are close to me tell me like, you've got to give him a chance here. He's really trying. This is totally different. So it was coming at me from different angles of like, okay, maybe in the past he was the issue and maybe now I'm the issue. Again, I'm following his lead. This is a person who makes me feel electric every time I'm with them. I told him this a couple of times, like I love how we can just sometimes be quiet. Pulp Fiction, I don't know if you know the scene, but that'll be really relevant in a moment. I really, really enjoyed spending time with him and doing like nothing with him. Doing the smallest things with him was always so much fun. Riding the subway together or going to do an errand together, going to the grocery store, watching movies, him playing the guitar, like everything was so much fun when we were together. And he would tell you the same thing. Now, starting in November, things really pick up to the point where I'm like, whoa, okay, it's happening now. Like this is really happening now. We're live. I'm just riding with it, but I can feel myself really, really, really falling for him. Now it's like this is becoming really real for me and I want to be with this person and I have really strong, genuine feelings for this person. So he books us a spa day and we're sat there and he asked me, he was like, I really want to take a trip with you. People, I want you to know that it was in this moment that I completely glitched. Like I just, words wouldn't come out of my mouth. I've always wanted to take a trip with him, always, because I felt like it would be so much fun. And given his job and I don't know, the distractions and whatever, like I just always felt like I really wanted an opportunity like a trip to go deeper with him, to connect with him on a deeper level and to just get to know him more. And I genuinely believe that that can only be done when you put the relationship through kind of a test like a trip. I have this theory. You have to take a trip with somebody to know if the relationship will work or not. Take a trip with your little situationship. Go away somewhere for the weekend. 3 nights, okay? Minimum. 3 nights. It doesn't have to be by plane. It could if you have the means, but it could also be a nice little road trip. We're getting there. So I glitch in this moment, but I just was like, there's no way he's serious, because that was kind of the theme of like struggling to believe the things that he would say because he didn't always follow through. He was getting better at this, but it is one of his flaws. Like he struggles with that. And I don't know if it's the forgetful thing or what it is, but that's always kind of been the thing of like, at this point, it's Thanksgiving. I really like this guy. In fact, I love him. And I can say that very confidently. It took me a few instances of deep reflection to really understand and figure out what in God's speed I was feeling towards this man. Like, what is this? Is this in my head? Is this one-sided, falling in love with his potential? And I got to the root of it, guys, and I can promise you it was love. I really felt it so strongly that I loved him in the purest form of the word. I came to this conclusion based on real things I had experienced with him. I was seeing in real time moments where I was like, wow, I really love this about you. I love the way you do this thing. I love the way you move. I love the way you speak. I love the way you think. So the week before Thanksgiving, please know that I am like, whoa, I'm really feeling it now. And the anxieties are naturally starting to come to the surface of like, this is kind of where you might get hurt. Like, ooh, Betsy, buckle up. It's almost Thanksgiving. He's going away. I'm also going away. My family decided to spend Thanksgiving in London. Up until the week of Thanksgiving, we weren't like the best texters. I'm not a great texter, neither is he. We would talk on the phone a good amount throughout the week. We would really rely on seeing each other in person, and that worked. It was the day that I was getting ready to fly to London. I was taking the red eye that evening. He was also flying from, I don't even fucking know where. He was allegedly in Mexico. We're not even getting into that. He was flying to go be with his family on the same day. And I still can't make sense of it. What happened that day? But this man did an even bigger 180. I don't know where it came from, why it was happening, where all of a sudden he was blowing up the phone and texting in a way that I've always kind of wished he would text, but like didn't really need him to text like that, like and do all that stuff, because I don't know, texting isn't human. And I just was like, you know what, we have a really positive connection. I don't need texting to validate the connection. But here he is all of a sudden like asking questions he's never really asked before. He was really pursuing me. That is what it seemed like. And after that Tuesday, every single day since, we spoke all day, every day. Because at first I was like, oh, surely this is just like a one-day thing. I don't know where this came from. I don't even want to question it, but like, surely this will last a day. And then he'll go back to whatever. No, like, he maintained it. And I was like, this is so much fun. This is so fun. I find myself like smiling at the phone, like I'm fucking giddy over here. Like I couldn't believe what this man was evoking within me. Like it really was, I was giddy. That whole week, wow, like I felt so excited about us. On the last day of both our trips, like we're gearing up to come home after Thanksgiving, he texts me out of nowhere that he got me a gift. I shit you not, at first I thought it was a prank. Guys, I am not the kind of girl who needs gifts. Like that doesn't excite me. What always excited me about him was the fun we would have doing nothing together. Like that was why that connection was so special for me. It had nothing to do with like the spa days or whatever. Like none of that mattered to me actually. None of it. So at this point, I'm like, okay, this is pretty real. I think. I'm still trying to protect myself and not jump the gun here and like, I don't know, get caught up in fantasies. I was trying to just look at the whole situation very objectively of like, okay, this is happening. I'm just going to go with it. We get home from our trips. I see him It's so much fun. I'm so happy to see him. You have no idea. You have no idea. He gives me the gift. I wanted to cry tears of happiness. I don't think I've ever gotten a gift that thoughtful. It was so me, so wild how he found this. He was at like a gift shop of a prison museum. Like, so why was this gift there? But it was adorable. It felt like my heart was going to explode. He got me a Pulp Fiction tarot deck. I love classic movies, specifically Pulp Fiction, and I'm obsessed with tarot. I've got every tarot deck you can possibly imagine, except for that one. And the sweetest part was that he even went out and got like this cute little red ribbon and like wrapped it like such a guy. I couldn't throw out the ribbon. I was like, the ribbon means so much to me. Like, it meant so much to me. I really felt understood. So the gift happens post Thanksgiving. How much better could it get? You know, where does this go from here? Well, out of nowhere, he calls me and is like, hey, I know I said I want to go on a trip with you. How do you feel about going upstate this weekend? And we'll do a long weekend. I want to go look at houses because he wants to buy a house upstate. And let's just make a weekend out of it. I haven't been this excited since the medieval times. The both of us were so excited for this trip. He rents an Airbnb. I sort the car. We're ready to rock and roll. Now, my only intention for this trip was not to like make it official. None of that. Like, my only intention for this trip was to get to know him better and to connect with him on a deeper level. I was so looking forward to this trip because I knew it would finally be an opportunity to just go quiet for a moment and to just be present with him. That trip was like, that trip was so much fun. That trip was fun from the moment I picked him up. Him getting in the car, like, it just was so much fun. The road trip games, our conversations, like, I already was like, this is going to be the best trip ever from the moment I got in the car. There were so many moments that were so romantic, so much fun. The laughs, like, the first night we get there, nothing in the house was working and we were just hysterically laughing about it. Nothing. The TVs, the games, nothing. So, like, we really had to get to know each other better. Now, the first day was house tours, and we do all of the house tours, and he's on the phone with his mom, and immediately I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if the mom knows he's here with me. He hangs up the phone with her and then immediately turns to me and was like, I think my mom would really like you. I literally made a face like, I put that to the side. I was like, don't read too much into it. That must be nothing. Like, just don't even think about it. Before we get to the house, we go to this Walmart that was the size of, I don't know, I've never seen a Walmart this big. At one point, the man was giving me a piggyback in the parking lot of the Walmart. Moving on, we're having so much fun. We get to the house for the first time and we get out the car, unpack like two little kids, so excited for camp. We're running all over the house, exploring. It was adorable. This was the cutest Airbnb ever. There was a Christmas tree with lights. It was so festive. There was a fireplace and a hot tub. After this incredible night together with no TV, yeah, who the fuck cares? We're here and we're gonna make it fun anyways. And like, we're rolling on the floor playing airplane. We wake up, he makes breakfast, we go on this incredible walk together. All of the snow and the trees and the air and this river, and this walk was so magical. It just was a dream. And especially because I was there with him. And I remember on that walk thinking to myself, this is the happiest I've ever been. Really, like this, I've never felt so happy. Not in like a weird limerence way. This is really special, and I'm so grateful to be here with him. Now the walk's coming to an end here, and he's like, let's go back, get our phones, because we didn't have our phones, and take pictures. And now I'm taking pictures of him. He's taking pictures of me. Like, this feels, I don't know, like this is a very private guy. And now we even went to this diner. At the diner, he's like taking pictures of me. And I was like, whoa, this is all so cute and like whatever. And so we were taking pictures of each other at the same time. And then he calls his mom and he says on the phone, yeah, Ella and I are at this diner. And I was like, again, don't think anything of it. This trip blew my expectations out of the water. I've never felt that happy and that in love in my life. I was like, okay, surely I need to just relax into this connection now. Surely this is solid now. We did this trip together. And it's now the last day of our trip. And it was initially his idea to extend an extra day because we were having so much fun. But I end up like really pushing for it because I really didn't want this trip to end. On our final day, he's starting to feel distant, and it's making anxiety spike up within me, not knowing what's on the other side of this trip. Where do we go from here? And my anxieties start bubbling up and my fears start bubbling up to the surface. And at the very end of this trip, we go bowling together and I'm having so much fun, and we come home and now I'm panicking. And at this point, I am like pulling at scraps. I still don't know why I said what I said, but subconsciously I know that I was so scared of what was on the other side of this trip. And I know that I have a very, very deep-rooted belief that the moment you feel happy, it means the end is near. There's no way that happiness lasts. And that goes all the way back to my childhood. That's for another episode. So at this point, I'm saying stupid shit. We're now fighting, and it's time for us to go. So like this trip is kind of ending somewhat on a sour note. We get in the car. We're still kind of fighting about nothing. It's stupid. But his stance is like, where is this coming from? It's all in your head. You have nothing to worry about. You're acting like I'm never going to see you again. And now at this point, I'm really feeling like, fuck, am I ruining this whole thing? Like, am I just self-sabotaging in real time? Like, I'm beating myself up so bad. Okay, we're fighting and I'm kicking myself, tearing myself apart. Like, why the fuck did you say that? When all of a sudden, the car breaks down in the middle of the freeway. Out of nowhere. It's safe to say that that fight comes to a screeching halt. We're now in full survival mode, okay? Because it's 19 degrees outside. We're praying we don't get hit by an 18-wheeler. We're in the middle of nowhere. How the hell do we get a tow truck? We go into full survival mode. I loved how he took control over the situation and how we both came together to try to figure this out. And it was a long fucking night. You have no idea. The guy dumps us off in the middle of nowhere, like a parking lot outside a Holiday Inn. We're trying to get an Uber. Can't, because it's like $2,000. It's late. It must have been like 1 a.m. Like nobody's picking us up. We're stuck in this car that doesn't work, freezing our asses off. At this point, we're laughing about the entire situation. The fight, it's irrelevant. Doesn't matter. It was stupid. Especially after this thing that we just went through together that was terrifying. It really brought us closer together. We wake up the next day. We've been together nonstop for several days now. Like, it kind of feels weird separating. The moment I get home, not in like a codependent way, I find that I started to miss him already. I'm so used to being alone, and I forgot how awesome it is to be with somebody. And that felt really special, and that trip was really fucking special, and it always will be. Guys, my anxiety that night was really my intuition for what's to come. That was my intuition flaring up. And I know that now. Like, I know that now, and I said it to him. Like, I knew this was going to happen. We get back from our trip. Everything's fine. Everything is totally fine. Nothing to worry about. And at this point, I'm really wrestling with myself of like, okay, you have to trust this connection now. We get back from this trip on a Tuesday, and on the Saturday, I'm noticing I'm exceptionally anxious, and I don't know why. And so I have a girls' day, we go shopping, I'm with my friends, and I'm telling them like, I must be the problem. I must be the problem. They're like, dude, come on. Like, you just did this trip with him. You have nothing to worry about. You guys are rock solid. It was in that moment that I was like, okay, I made a decision to fully trust this connection and to lean in, to just trust. The next day, I literally was filming an episode to tell you guys about how awesome the trip was and the realizations I was having about myself and my readiness for love, commitment, the fears that were coming up inside of me, when out of nowhere, he called me. And something was different. I could just feel something was off. And then I was like, is everything okay? And he's like, yeah, everything's fine. And I was like, no, something's not right. Is everything okay with us? And that's when he laid it on me, that he is pushing pause on all dating, romance, intimacy. He's going celibate, all of it. He needs to push pause and he's going to go away. He swore up and down it has nothing to do with anything you've done, reiterating how strongly he feels about me, the connection. This has nothing to do with you. I was completely blindsided. I was so blindsided. Well, my camera died along with my soul. You can see it in the footage that I halt everything I'm doing and take the phone call because I just had a gut feeling something was wrong. He kept saying, I love the person that you are. And then also went on this whole thing about how it has nothing to do with other women. There is no other woman. It was in this moment that I felt like I was free falling. And he couldn't really understand why I was so devastated. He kept saying things like, it's just a moment in time. It's just a moment. Like, kept saying this isn't the end. Like, why are you acting like this is the end? I'm not saying it's the end. It's a pause. And it was so wildly confusing because I was hearing every word he was saying, but it felt like the end. And I realized that this was almost copy and paste what happened right before he left for Europe the last time in March. After this conversation, I want you to know it was the roller coaster of a lifetime. I've never felt that blindsided before. This wasn't making sense. But how? We just went on the trip. You told me I had nothing to worry about. Where is this coming from? Why is this happening? I'm like texting him, trying to get more clarity. It's really ambiguous where he is at that moment. It just was, the whole thing was so bizarre. So we agreed to meet in person and have this conversation in person because at this point, we've spent a significant amount of time together. I've invested so much into this guy, you have no idea. I've gone above and beyond for him. I've always shown up for him. I've spent hours and hours and hours and days helping him with things related to his work. I want to be careful when I say this. Like, I don't want you guys to think like I was over giving with this guy. I could have been, but like, honestly, that's how I show up in love. That is. I love deeply. I am the kind of partner who's going to show up for you, who's going to go above and beyond for you, who's always going to be there for you, who's going to remember the small things that you like. That is who I am. And that doesn't make me anxious, and that doesn't make me weird or clingy or codependent. That's how I love. And I never want to change that about myself. I went through all of the mental gymnastics leading up until this conversation. And oh my God, was it a roller coaster. Of course, my brain went to, this has to be about another woman. And then my brain would just rocket over to this whole thing wasn't real. There's no way. I must have been imagining this whole thing. Where did I go wrong? And how could I fall for this again? Was everything he said a lie? Like, this makes no sense. And so I get myself organized. I write down the questions that I want to ask him so I don't go in circles with him. And I wanted to get it right and not overwhelm him and not scare him and just be direct so that this conversation is productive. So he comes over and it's almost like nothing was wrong. I just was like, okay, hold on. Let's just focus here and focus on the conversation. And I'm going through the questions and he's answering them very directly, very eloquently. I was borderline interrogating him. And I know that sounds extreme, but guys, I just had the rug completely ripped from underneath me. I just got comfortable. And it took me so long to get comfortable with you. And now you're doing this. Sure, it was an interrogation. When he wasn't really understanding why I was as upset as I was, and he would blame it on certain things and kind of gaslight it, where he would be like, it's just a moment. I realized that he has no idea how I feel about him. Why would he? I haven't told him. I decided that during this conversation, I was going to tell him how I really felt. And this is terrifying for me. In a lot of ways, I can be very avoidant, because I'm so scared of getting hurt. I am a very open and vulnerable person, so it's kind of conflicting. So he comes over, it's going fine. At the same time, it was a pretty beautiful conversation, because these are the conversations that people just don't have, and here we are having it. So like, yeah, as I said on TikTok, it was my time to shine, and I said it. I made it very clear to him that I'm not saying this with expectations. This is not to change your mind, and I am trying to just give you more context as to why I'm reacting. Those are some pretty strong words to just say. And we're not dating, we're not exclusive, but here we are like breaking up. It's not the end, but it is. Like it just, the whole thing is still so weird. And he stands firm on it being a pause. And then he does the thing of like, this is a fantasy that you've created in your head. You've fallen in love with my potential. And then I went on to very clearly name and prove why I love him. And it was in that moment that things really set in. And it was quiet. And I wasn't expecting you to like say it back. I needed to say it. We had this huge hug goodbye. That was the kind of hug where it really felt like the end. For the first time in my life, I actually felt what unconditional love meant. I could let him go and I could set him free into the world. Then it felt like, oh, you're doing the exact thing you said you weren't going to do. So now what do I believe? And it just was a roller coaster. And then you try to like figure out why he's doing what he's doing and diagnose him. And like, he's an avoidant and this and that, the other. And I finally reached a wall where I was like, I am torturing myself right now, and this is insufferable. I hit a point where I was just like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter why this happened. At the end of the day, he made a choice to walk away. That is all I need to know. I think that you can care about somebody tremendously, believe in the connection, see a future, love them, but still choose a certain path. I made the decision that, you know what? I don't want to date anymore. And at first people were like, that's so dramatic. You're just wounded and time will heal and whatever. Like, guys, I am telling you, this is much different. If I was doing drugs and I told you I'm quitting drugs because it's causing me pain, you would support it. It is honest to God the same thing, especially in today's world. This whole thing, I don't know what it triggered, but it honestly made me question everything I know. Oh my God, it was such a mindfuck. What does it say about me that this happened? Why did I attract this? I've had breakups before. I've had actual breakups, long relationships end, but those were different feelings. Like one of them, I was relieved. The other one, I was traumatized. You end up hating the guy or you're angry and you channel that into something. This was so different. I've actually never felt that kind of pain before, because this one didn't make sense. And I told you in the beginning, the way my brain works. So confusing that's why it hurt. This fucking sucks. Like, let's just call a spade, and it's okay to feel that way. I miss him. The mornings, I like almost wake up and forget for a split second that this happened. And I have like a little bit of excitement in me where I'm like, okay, another, and then I'm like, oh, that happened. That wasn't a dream. That actually happened. And reality just like, poof. This was just a week before Christmas. Like, this is a person that I thought we were going to spend New Year's Eve together. And maybe that was all in my head. I never wanted to trap him. I never wanted to change him. I never wanted to control him. That's how I felt about him. At my core, I didn't need him to commit to me. I didn't need him to choose me. I didn't need him to do labels or change anything. I just wanted to love him. To tie this all together here, this whole thing just absolutely blew my mind. Obviously, the events that happened, but then much, much, much bigger picture. Is manifestation even real? Like, what is manifestation? Did I manifest this? Like, what, how, Why? And even in the comments of that TikTok that I posted, it kind of spooked me because I was seeing all these people like go off about dismissive avoidance and discarding and whatever. And I just was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I don't resonate with that. So, I mean, that was a lot, right? Like, that was a lot that I just completely unloaded onto the internet. I promise this has purpose. Guys, the lessons I'm taking from this, there's so many. Discoveries about myself, my views, my values, just dating in general, like love in general. What is this love thing? This has also set me on a path to like completely deconstruct everything I've ever learned about spirituality, manifestation, the whole thing. Believe you me, I'm questioning everything. The reality is it's just never personal. None of this is personal. This person is somehow, and in some shape, way, or form, mirroring me. You don't have to be perfect to call in a relationship. It's more like, when should I have walked away? This person might be mirroring my tolerance for what I don't deserve. Like, it could be that. And honestly, I could sit here and pick it apart for the rest of my life, but I can't, and I won't wait. It's useless. I just want to be honest. Like, I don't see that as a crime. Hey, you know what? This thing happened to me. It fucking sucks. And I'm feeling this way right now, and that's just the reality of the situation. I don't need to have all the answers in this moment. Let it be. And that's the reality of life, folks. The only person who knows the truth is him. He might not even know why. The truth, what's really going on. So it's pointless. It's useless. Like, at the end of the day, I have to just move on, pick myself up. I'm actually wildly proud of myself for my capacity to love. Like, that took some guts. I mean, fucking kahunas to tell a guy who was breaking up with me, really, that I love him with no expectation. That takes a lot of fucking balls. And I did it. And you know what? I felt it and I meant it. And I said this thing that I meant that was scary, and I did it. This thing that happened doesn't have to mean that it was all in my head, but it also doesn't have to mean that it'll be forever. Nothing has permanence. Nothing. Compatibility does not mean availability. All of us do this, where we think that the answers are out there, and that another person or another experience or another event or this thing that we're chasing outside of ourselves will be the answer, when really the only place we should ever look for answers or clarity or meaning is right here, inside of ourselves. That's all I've got for you guys. I love you so much. On the next episode, I am going to unpack everything I've recently discovered on manifestation. It's really not what we thought all along, and we've been lied to. So see you in the next one. I don't know. I love you guys. Okay, bye.